to you as on several of our websites that we'll be mentioning later on. Before we get into today's presentations, I did just want to start us off with a poll just to see who all we have in the audience. You should see that coming up on your screen now. I'll leave it up for about 30 seconds. The question is, are you a student, parent, or select other if you're here because you have a different reason for attending? All right. I'm going to go ahead and end it there. Okay, so it looks like we have about 64% parents, 36% students. Not totally surprising that we have mostly parents when this is a pretty financial based presentation. But thank you for letting us know. That really helps us kind of gauge kind of how we want to present our information. Okay, so on to today's events. We'll begin with some short presentations from the financial aid department, the student business office, and university residences. Following the presentations, we'll open up the floor for a pretty long Q&A session where you can ask questions from any of the departments here. I do want to make it pretty clear that these presentations and the Q&A portion are meant to be a little bit more geared towards your financial questions that you may have about attending Western. I know several of our offices provide other services, but we're mainly focusing on the financial side of things. But there are tons of other resources that you can check out for everything else that you need to know. So just make sure you're keeping an eye on your Western email and generally on the lookout for some other events and resources that some other departments have for some of your other questions. To find pretty much all of the information like that for your first year, you can check out the new Student Services website, which I'll be sure to put in the a chat, or excuse me, a link in the chat later that has kind of a full list of different webinars and FAQs for new students. You'll also hear all of us refer to our department websites pretty frequently throughout the presentations and during the Q&A. This is always the best place to start when you have a question, because we all have a variety of resources at your disposal, so don't be surprised when we kind of keep mentioning it. When you do have questions, please use the Q&A feature. We'll get to your questions during the Q&A portion of the event, so please try and just kind of hold on until we reach that portion of the presentation, just because we might answer some of the questions that you have during the presentation portion. We will either answer verbally or by responding to you in chat. If you have any questions that are specific to your situation or your specific account, just make sure to email the appropriate office after today's session and we'll get back to you as soon as possible about that. And we will try our best to get to everyone's questions that you get posted today. But if we don't end up getting to your question, again, just feel free to email any of us or at the information provided on the screen. I'll post this again, it'll be on your screen during the Q&A session as well. All right, so all of those logistics taken care of. First up, we have a short presentation on financial aid by Zoe Ray. Go ahead and take it away.
Thanks so much, Jessica. I think you said a short presentation, so I will do my best.
That's verbiage I got from you.
Topic. I'm Zoe. I am a financial aid counselor here at Western. I use she, her pronouns. And we're going to talk about your award letter. So I'm going to see if I can share my screen. Okay. Is that showing up for you? No? Now is it showing up for you? Good, cool. Okay. So hopefully most of you as incoming students have seen your award letter by now. If you have not seen your award letter for any reason, go ahead and contact our office. We'll see if there's maybe an outstanding requirement or something. Make sure you completed your FAFSA. They do need to be done every year. But if you did complete your FAFSA, most of you will have an award letter. Also, all of this information is going to be available in the online portal Web4U. So you can go ahead and check that out under the financial aid tab. And as a reminder, completing your FAFSA does need to happen every single year to receive aid every year. And the FAFSA does open October 1st. The Western's priority deadline is January 31st. But just to keep that in mind, that will be coming up before you know it. All right, we're going to start with the cost of attendance. So the cost of attendance is made up of direct costs that are billed by Western and indirect costs that are our estimates and averages of what students, of what we expect that you will need to pay throughout the year. So this is intended for the fall, winter, spring quarters combined. Direct costs are billed, like I said, directly by Western. So tuition and fees, room and board if you live on campus, and the one-time enrollment fee. And indirect costs are books and supplies, which is pretty self-explanatory. Personal expenses, which is everything from like toothpaste to like going out with your friends, buying socks. Transportation is everything from like tickets to go home, parking passes if you bring your car, fun tip, bus passes are covered in your student fees. So if you do not live on campus, of course, the room and board is then an indirect cost. We keep that number in your cost of attendance though. But then, you know, if you don't live on campus, you kind of have a lot more control over it. So, you know, the indirect costs are kind of where that consumer choice comes in, and you can make different choices about how to spend your funds. And we like to say you can live like a college student now so you don't have to later after college. I think that's about it for this. We're going to look at actual awards, but this kind of helps us build. This is what we expect your aid to help cover, are these expenses. Also, you may see that the current cost of attendance is slightly different. This was our estimate before everything got finalized this year. So it's a tiny bit different than what it was, but it's very close. Move this up a little bit. So this is an example of a financial aid offer. Yours may look completely different, and that's fine. The offers are built around the expected family contribution, which is that little number that you get after you file the FAFSA. So this is based on, for example, an expected family contribution of $3,000. And so I'm going to kind of go through the different aid types and just talk a little bit about them. So first we have two grants. So like the Pell Grant and Washington College Grant are both, you know, offered by the federal and state governments respectively. Grant funding, you don't have to pay back. These both actually happen to be prorated if you're not attending full time. We'll talk about that a little bit later. The Admissions Achievement Award is an example of a one-year scholarship that is awarded by admissions. So most of the scholarships for incoming students are awarded by admissions. Most of them are one-year scholarships, especially for in-state students. As a part, I forgot about the cost of attendance. That is the cost of attendance for an in-state student. If you're an out-of-state student, the tuition and fees is higher, which you probably have already noticed. So back to the scholarships. Once you're at Western, we do have a scholarship season at Western, which is late winter through early to mid spring, when there are scholarships available for current students to apply for. That will then they will receive those the following year. So if you have your like Admissions Achievement Award in your offer and you're like, what do I do next year? Because it's just a scholarship for 1 year. Contact the Scholarship Center. We will be able to give you information on kind of when and where to look for those Western scholarships. Even more scholarships become available generally once you have gotten into your major as well, because each department and college, most of them award their own scholarships. Okay, if you are receiving scholarships from outside of Western, private scholarships, do please notify our office if you have not already. We do process all external scholarships, and it really, really helps if we know that they're coming. Next is work study. So some of you may see work study in your financial aid offer. Work study is a need-based employment opportunity. So there are work study jobs that are available both off campus and on campus. I was checking earlier today and I found 49 on-campus work study jobs and 24 non-work study jobs on campus that are currently available for students to apply for. So you don't have to have work study in your offer to work on campus. We generally say, and I believe this is still true, about 2/3 of the on-campus jobs are not work study jobs, so you don't have to have that in your offer, just anyone can apply. The advantages to work study, and it's just a normal job, you still have to apply, you still have to be hired, you get a paycheck directly, just like a normal job. It doesn't get applied directly to your fees or anything like that. But the advantages to work study are that, one, it does open up those job opportunities because, like I said, 1/3 of the jobs on campus, you do have to have work study offered to you. And the other thing is that when you file the FAFSA in a couple of years, work study earnings are excluded from the calculation of need. So you still enter them on the FAFSA, but then there's a different field to put how much of your income was from work study, and that part is excluded. So it is advantageous. If you are offered work study and you happen to find a work study job that you want to take, then definitely go ahead and apply for that. I also want to just do a plug for working on campus. There have been studies done that students who work part-time actually do better in school, and we do recommend that everyone look for employment on campus or off campus. And we do have many different opportunities listed on our Student Employment Center website. And we also hear a lot of students saying that they want to come to school and get like a quarter or two under their belt before they start to look for jobs. And we really do like to encourage you to get jobs your first quarter, partially because they do tend to be, they may not all be available. If you're like, fall quarter's done, okay, I think I'm ready to look for a job now. It might be a little bit harder. So we do want to make sure that you are able to work if you would like to work this year. And we recommend you start looking now. Okay, work study. Next is loans. So these are student loans offered by the federal government. The amount here, the total of $5,500 is for freshmen. Your loan max for the year, the possible max actually increases when you're a sophomore to $6,500, and then as a junior and senior to $7,500. These are student loans. They don't require a credit check. All you have to do is go in, if you would like to borrow part or all of your loans, you go into Web4U and you say how much of the loan you would like to accept. There's 2 little requirements on studentaid.gov that then you'll need to complete. So there's entrance counseling, which I believe takes about 20 minutes. That's just kind of little, like, walks you through the requirements and responsibilities of borrowing money. And then the master promissory note, where you agree to the repayment terms of the loan. You don't have to start repaying loans until 6 months after you cease attendance at college. And the subsidized loan, does not accrue interest while you are in school. The unsubsidized loan does accrue interest. So you'd want to borrow the subsidized loan first, which I believe our system will basically force you to do. So that helps make that a little bit easier. Anything else about loans? I think that's about it. Interest right now, the interest rates change every year. This year it's 4.99% for the 2022 to 2023 academic year. That is the aid types. If you're not going full-time at any time during school for any reason, we do recommend contacting our office. A lot of these aid types are available at less than full-time enrollment. So like I said earlier, like Pell Grant, Washington College Grant, College Bound Scholarship are all prorated. If you're less than full-time, the loans, the loan eligibility, you just have to be enrolled half-time at least. Full-time is 12 or more credits as an undergraduate. Okay. Trying to keep this brief. It's not easy. Okay, so so you may notice that there was a gap in the amount of aid offered and the total cost of attendance at Western. So how do you fill that gap? So we do list a couple options on our award letter. One is the Parent Plus loan. Parents have the option of borrowing from the federal government. For this loan, for the parent loan, a credit check is required. They're mostly checking for adverse credit history. Private loan can also be an option. Students can find more information about private loans if you'd like to kind of fill in that gap. On our website, we have a tool called Fast Choice, I believe, that will help you compare some different private loan lenders, banks, and like other types of institutions offer private student loans. And then we work with them to get those loaded and like incorporated into your financial aid offer. So using the Fast Choice tool, you can kind of compare different institutions and different loan offers that Western students have used before. You don't have to use one of them, but it's available as a tool. Outside scholarships, so we do list some private scholarships on our Western Scholarship website. Employment, again, you don't have to have work study to work on campus, and obviously not off campus either. So we do post both on and off campus positions on the Student Employment Center website, which is listed right here. And yeah, out of pocket. So if you are at a place right now where you are not exactly sure how you're going to pay for school this year, please contact financial aid so we can talk to you about it, walk you through things, give you options, help you figure this out, because you don't want to arrive at school and then have that conversation. So we really want to help you get all this figured out before you arrive on campus so that you can just focus on the fun part of going to college, moving into the dorm, meeting people, and going to classes. So yeah, let us help you. If there's anything about your offer that you don't understand, please contact our office. We do have additional drop-in appointments for the next couple of weeks. You can come into our office if you're on campus or in Bellingham. Email, phone, carrier pigeon, multiple ways. Okay. Sorry about the zooming. I think the last thing that we were going to go over is just a reminder to log into Web4U. This is your homework for all of you. Log into Web4U, find your financial aid offer. You don't have to accept the grants or the scholarships. We accept those on your behalf. We assume that you would like the free money. If you don't want the free money for any reason, let us know. I've only seen that happen like once. But if you would like to borrow part or all of your loans, or if you were offered work study, you would also need to accept that. I think that's basically, the part that I forgot. How does financial aid work? How does the actual financial aid get applied to your actual tuition and fees? So you are billed tuition and fees quarterly, and housing if you live on campus. And usually those bills go on when you register for classes. Your aid, if you noticed in the award letter, there we go, is split into fall, winter, and spring. So that quarter's portion of your aid will disperse, as long as you don't have any unmet requirements, on the Friday before classes start each quarter. So for fall quarter, that is Friday, September 16th, in about a week and 2 days. So that's when the aid will disperse into your account. Usually that kind of happens in the evening. And then so you can check that weekend and check your student account online, which Karen will walk you through how to find that, and make sure that your aid's dispersed. And if you have an excess, if you have more aid than you have charges by Western, you will receive a refund. And you'll need to set up your refund preference with the student business office. If you have more charges than you have aid, then you will need to pay that difference. And so tuition and fees are due the first day of classes. So aid, as long, again, as you don't have unmet requirements, and you can check for unmet requirements in Web4U, then your aid will disperse the Friday before classes. So that gets applied directly to any of your Western charges. And then, like I said, if you have any remaining funds left over, those will get refunded to you to use for housing or books or toothpaste or whatever you need. And I think that is about it. So thank you very much. We will, of course, be answering questions. And definitely when you have individual questions about your actual financial aid offer, please contact our office and we'll be happy to answer any questions, walk you through everything. And I'm going to turn it back to Jessica.
Great. Thank you, Zoe. We appreciate you sharing all of that information with us. Next up, we have Karen Yackley from the Student Business Office to discuss everything we do, including how to make your payments on your student account online.
Thanks, Jessica. Thanks, Zoe. My name is Karen and I use she, her pronouns. I'm the Assistant Director for the Student Business Office. Really excited to be here tonight and glad that we have so many parents and students with us as well. As Jessica mentioned, I'm going to discuss when, where, and how to pay your bill. I'm going to be covering a lot of information just like Zoe did. It's probably not going to be everything that you need to hear, but it's a good start. And there's a lot of great resources out there that I'll also talk about where you can find additional information. Again, just try and hold your questions till the end. Hopefully I'll cover some of what you are going to ask during my presentation. So let's see, I'm going to start sharing my screen here. Everybody see that okay? Perfect. Okay. So let's start with just defining what the Student Business Office is. We refer to ourselves, and you'll hear other people on campus call us SBO for short. Our department encompasses several units, all of which you'll probably encounter at some point during your time at Western. We're located on the first floor of Old Main, right next to the Rose Garden. Part of the SBO includes our payment unit, where we process all payments that Western receives. For students, this means tuition, fees, housing, and other education-related expenses. We handle incoming payments from federal and state agencies, other universities, and private businesses. Our online payment portal allows payments to be made anytime, day or night. We also have a billing unit, which is responsible for all the financial activity on your Western account online. This includes charges, refunds, or payments. We also distribute 1098-T, the 1098-T form, which is a tuition statement used for tax purposes. We apply monthly late fees, we produce statements, and we place financial holds that prevent students from registering for courses on past due balances. But I'm going to help you figure out how to avoid that. A couple other units that fall under the Student Business Office. We've got the Debt Recovery Unit. We help students navigate repayment of federal loans and former Western account balances. So if you find yourself with a past due balance, make sure to reach out to our debt recovery to discuss options. And then we also have transportation services. So before I talk about transportation services, I'm going to see if I can set off a poll here. We got too much going on. There we go. Not that one. All right, so if you could answer this question, can you see it all right? Okay, are you planning on bringing a car with you to campus? Yes or no? Give you a couple minutes to answer that. All right. So let's go ahead and end the poll and the results. We've got 30% saying yes and 70% saying no. Okay. So why did I ask that question? Well, I'm going to tell you a little bit about what transportation services does and hopefully convince you not to bring a car to campus. Transportation services is a bridge between students and their commute options. We provide advice to students on how to get to campus, and we encourage everybody, students, staff, and faculty, visitors too, not to depend on their vehicle. So Zoe mentioned this, part of the fees that you pay do include access to the bus system. So transportation services can help you navigate the bus system, which is referred to as the Whatcom Transportation Authority, or WTA. So going back to that polling question about bringing your car to campus, for those 30% of you that were considering that, we just want to stress that there are options that don't involve driving a car every day. It's also really important to understand that parking is extremely limited on campus. And we know that some people have to bring a car. So if you have to, we want to make sure that you purchase a student parking permit, because every lot requires a permit. To get a permit, you have to add yourself to our parking portal waitlist. And this can be done through the parking portal. Add yourself to the waitlist. Permits are awarded based on availability, and the wait list position is ordered based on the number of credits a student has completed. In addition to the WTA system to help you get around campus, or Bellingham, if you are out and about after the bus system stops operating at night, Western has a Starlight shuttle that provides Western students with on-demand, no-cost rides within 5 miles of campus. I encourage you to go to the transportation website at transportation.wwu.edu for more information. And we do have somebody that is available to answer questions if you have anything specific to transportation. Last, we have within the student business office, the Western Card office, which the Western Card is something that every student needs. It allows you to access campus through our dining halls, Western libraries, and the rec center. Off campus, it works as that bus pass with unlimited rides on all WTA and Skagit transit bus routes. The Western Card services is available through an online portal. So you should have already received a notice about submitting your picture online. Please do that, and then that card will be issued to you. Try and avoid waiting in line and get that taken care of through their portal. All right, so next I want to introduce you to the SBO website if you haven't already been there. There's a lot of really helpful information here. You can find important dates and deadlines. One that I heard Zoe refer to was that tuition and fees are due on the first day of every quarter. So for fall, that is September 21st. We want to make sure that you pay your balance on time so that you can avoid late fees and interest. We do issue late fees on the 15th of the month. So the first time we're going to do that for fall is October 15th. Pay your tuition and fees on September 21st and avoid the October 15th deadline. Let's see what else. On our website, you're going to find information about payment plans. So one of the things that Zoe was also mentioning, if you have some funding, but maybe not enough to cover all of your tuition and housing, you can sign up for a payment plan. It offers a really convenient and manageable way to pay the remaining balance in monthly installments, rather than a single larger lump sum payment. The payment plan will be available on your Western account online. for you to register starting September 14th, and that closes on the 28th. So you want to make sure that you enroll in the payment plan during that time. There's a $35 enrollment fee to sign up, and the first installment is due upon enrollment. And then the second would be due 30 days after that, and the final installment is due 30 days after that. It is something that you need to enroll in every quarter, so please keep that in mind if you're interested in the payment plan. The last thing I'll point out about our website is if you have real specific questions unique to you and maybe your charges or what your situation is, we do have the ability for you to meet with a billing specialist. There's a virtual scheduler right on our homepage, and you can get yourself in to meet with somebody virtually. All right. Oh, I guess there is one more thing I want to talk about that's on our website right now. Highlighted here on this slide is our checklist for success. We encourage all students to take care of these 4 items prior to coming to campus. The first one is the release of financial information, which allows our office to discuss your charges or your bill or your refunds with anybody that you give access to. That could be a parent, a friend, somebody that's helping you pay the bill. It's an easy e-sign form. Go straight to our website, click on the link that's provided and fill that out. We are not able to provide financial information to parents without this form completed. The next form is the authorization to apply financial aid funds. So by default, when financial aid disperses on Friday, September 16th, it's going to apply towards your tuition and housing charges. But it can't apply to things like a bookstore charge or a health service charge without the authorization to apply financial aid funds. So please make sure you have that completed. Next is the payer invitation. So while you might grant your student, while the student might grant their parent access to talk to us about a bill, if they want to actually look at the bill, view the statements, go online and make a payment, they need a payer invitation, which grants them access to the Western Account Online to view all that information. Our website right now has a tutorial on how to do that, so please visit that tutorial and get your payer signed up. And then last is direct deposit. At some point during your career at Western, you are probably going to receive a refund. It could be a housing deposit that we're trying to get back to you. It might be that you had an excess of financial aid that we need to release to you, or maybe you dropped a class and there was a tuition refund. So the quickest way for you to access money that is due to you is by signing up for direct deposit. We use a third-party vendor named BankMobile. And you should have received some information this summer about how to sign up. If you didn't get that or don't remember seeing it, just go to our website and click on the direct deposit complete form, and that's going to take you to a website called refundselection.com. Read through it, become familiar with it, and set up direct deposit so that your refunds can be delivered very quickly to you. So I keep talking about the Western Account Online, so let's dive into that a little bit. Here's a view directly from our website. You can click on students, or if you're set up as a payer, you can click on parents and log in and access the Western Account Online. The other way to get to this is directly through Web4U, which is your student portal for everything. It's where you register for classes. It's where you look at your financial aid offer and accept your award. You can also access your Western Account Online directly through Web4U. So 2 options on our website or Web4U. Here is a view of it. As you can see, there's quite a few things you could do here. You can view current activity. You can look at a prior statement that was issued. We issued on September 1st statements that show your tuition charges if you were registered and your housing charges if you're living in the dorms. You can pay your bill, you can send a payer invitation and invite somebody to look at your Western Account Online. Another thing that I want to point out here is while the statements are great, they are issued once a month and it includes activity that occurred 30 days prior. So it's stale. As soon as it's posted, it's stale. So we want to really encourage you to view, when you log onto your Western Account Online, your balance. That is your true account balance. It's real time. So parents are calling us frantically right now saying, I want to pay my student's balance. Is the balance that I see on the statement the final charge? And generally, yes, it is. However, our students are creative, wonderful people, and sometimes they adjust their registration, which could create an additional charge, or maybe they decide their meal plan isn't enough and they need to increase it. That creates an additional charge. So while you can use that statement to pay your balance, we want to really encourage you to become familiar with the Western Account Online, log in regularly, take a look at that balance, see what the activity is that's creating the balance, make sure it's at 0 before our late fee deadline, which is the 15th of the month. Okay, next, we've had a couple of these webinars, and so based on that information, I've taken, I think, about 4 questions that we receive regularly, and I'm just going to go over them right now. The first one is, when are payments due? And so this has been discussed a couple times in the presentation already. It is the first day of the quarter. So for fall, that is Wednesday, September 21st. That is technically when tuition, fees, and housing is due. However, you have a little bit of a grace period built in there to figure out how to pay online, how to access your Western account, make sure your financial aid has applied if you're receiving it. And we won't issue any late fees until the 15th of October for fall. That's the first time. So just always keep in mind the first day of the quarter is when we ask for that payment. Next is, when are late fees assessed and how much are they? I just talked about that. It's always on the 15th of the month. The first time we're doing this for fall would be October 15th. So keep those dates in mind. It is a $55 late fee on balances that are $100 or more. And there is a 1% interest charge on balances that are 30 days old or greater. So and we do have that information posted on our website as well, but feel free to contact us if you have any other questions. Next, when will I see financial aid? And when we say financial aid, we're talking about loans, we're talking about grants, we're talking about scholarships. When will I see that apply to my balance? For fall quarter, that is Friday, September 16th is when things begin dispersing to the Western account towards your tuition charges and your housing charges. And that's true for most every quarter, I believe. I think it's around the Friday before classes start. Okay, and then when will I get my refund? That was the other piece on there. So financial aid will begin dispersing that Friday before classes start. We start issuing any credit balances the first day of the quarter. That's when you can expect to see that information, and make sure that you sign up for direct deposit so that you can access those funds quickly. How do payments work with 529 and GET plans? We encourage everybody who is going to be using a 529 plan to pay tuition to visit your provider's website. You want to log into your account and sign up for electronic funds transfer to your personal checking account. So check with your financial provider if you have any questions, but generally you can sign up and have those funds directly transferred. You want to make sure you do it well in advance of the start of classes, or at least in advance of the late fee deadline. If you're going to be requesting a check, you need to make sure that you request it well in advance of that late fee deadline. It's taking at least 14 days for checks to reach us, but we do encourage you to just use the online payment option, request a reimbursement. For GET, you want to go to their website, request the money, and it's sent directly over to Western, and we'll apply that to your student's account. Next is there a convenience fee for online credit and debit card payments? And yes, there is. The convenience fee is generally 2.75%. However, there's a range of $20 to $109 where it's a $3 charge. So we absolutely encourage, if you can, use the e-check option. That would be entering a routing number and a checking account number. And with that option, there is no convenience fee associated with it. It's free, it's safe. You can save the information to your Western account online and you're all set. Okay, and I have listed here for some other FAQs. We have a bunch more listed on our website, so feel free to go there and take a look. That is about all I'm going to go over right now. I will be available for questions after housing's presentation. Here's our contact information again. Please visit our website. There's a lot of great information out there. And thank you so much for your time.
Great, thank you, Karen. So as Karen was just saying, for our final presentation, we will hear from Anya Engeldow from University Residences to guide us through understanding your financial obligations and your housing agreement to help you avoid unnecessary fees. Go ahead, Anya.
Great, thank you, Jessica. So let me quickly share my screen with everybody. Okay, Jessica, thumbs up. Can you see my screen? Okay, perfect. So as Jessica said, my name is Anya Engeldow. I am the Assistant Director for Business Services in Business Services and University Residences. So I'm gonna also just start by launching a quick poll just to kind of see who's in our audience. Okay, just launched. If everyone could just take a moment to answer it. Oh, this is great. Looks like we're almost 90% living in the dorm. So great, welcome. We're excited to have you. Now I'm going to close that. So I'm here to answer any questions about financial obligations having to do with housing. If you have questions about moving in, time slot, your application, I encourage you to give us a call or email us. I know that right now we have, I want to say we have around 65 students that were working on their assignments. So it's a little bit later than normal, but our assignments team is working hard this week to get the remaining students assigned. And then we have probably 100 students on our wait list. So if you are an incoming freshman, we guarantee housing. And if you have a completed application and your deposits paid, we will have a spot for you. So please just be a little bit patient. It's coming very close. So I know there's a lot of anxiety with that, but we will find a spot for you. If anyone has time, I would encourage you to visit our website. We have all kinds of information on moving in, mail deliveries, room rates, floor plans, a copy of the housing agreement. All of that can be found on our website. Housing hosted, I think we had 3 of our own webinars over the summer. They're all done now, but previous housing webinars can also be accessed on our website. And then hopefully everyone this week will receive we sent out a mailer. It's so the first time we've done this particular mailer, but we've sent out to all of our incoming residents with information about housing, student business office, financial aid, scholarship, with all kinds of good contact information. So look for that in your mail. So for most of you, if you have your room assignment, your housing bill should already be on your student account. For those students who are waiting for their room assignment, their housing bill will be on their account once their room is assigned. You might, if you're still waiting for a room assignment, you might have been given the 125 meal plan and you see that meal plan charge on your account. Once you get your room assignment, feel free to go into our meal manager and you can change your plan. The 125 is kind of the default meal plan. You have for the first 2 weeks of the quarter, you can downgrade your meal plan and you can increase your meal plan at any time. Anytime that you increase or decrease the meal plan or change your room, just be aware that there will be a charge on your account. We have different tiers of rooms. So if you're moving from a hallway style room with a shared bathroom down the hall to Buchanan Towers where you have your own bathroom and it's a suite, expect to be there will be a charge on your account. And anytime you change your meal plan. So just be aware of that. When you make changes, there's usually some effect to your accounts. Our move-in starts next Thursday. We're going to start welcoming students into the dorm. We're really excited. We used to all do this all on a Sunday, but we are now, since COVID, we've stretched out the move-in process to 4 days. So we're not bringing everyone onto campus at once. We will have on Thursday, we'll be opening up the Viking Commons for dinner, which is one of our dining halls. On Friday, we'll open up Fairway Commons, and Saturday we open up Ridgeway Commons. So by Saturday, all 3 dining halls will be open. If you don't have your Western ID yet, that's okay. You can still access your meal plan one of 2 ways. First way is you can download the Get Mobile app found on our dining website. In fact, we'll just drop that into the chat really quick. The see if I can. I encourage you to download the Get app. It'll show you, it always shows you your balance. When you have a meal plan comes with a certain amount of swipes and a certain amount of dining dollars. So when you have the app, you can see how many swipes you have left, how many dining dollars you have left. If you don't have the app, you don't have a smartphone, you can always give the cashier your W number and they can enter it into the system that way. So if you don't have your Western ID card yet, if you're not, we can still feed you. Let's see, what else did I want to talk about? So just avoiding fees. If you're, read your housing contract. If you're moving out early, make sure that you're checking out with your RA, so you're checking out properly. There are, if you're moving out of the dorms, but you're still a student at Western, there's contract breakage fees. If you're moving out of the dorm because you're no longer a student at Western, we don't charge the fees, and we do check your enrollment status when you leave housing. If there's any damage to your room, if you move out and there's damage to your room, there might be some damage fees charged. We don't typically go through the rooms. An RA might note damage on your checkout slip, and then facilities would go and look, and then there might be a charge. Generally through the year, we don't see a lot of this. At the end of the year, a lot of times we can't inspect rooms until 3 or 4 weeks after student has left. We have over 2,000 rooms. So, but generally damage fees are charged when someone breaks the window, hole in the wall, normal wear and tear. There's generally no fees. And then the last thing I really want to say is check your emails. This is a conversation I have often with students. If there's an issue with your account or something's not right, we will always send you an email, and we email the students and not the parents. So if there's, for some reason, your financial aid didn't apply and now your housing bill is, outstanding, and we try to send email, we try to get in contact with you. We don't want to just send you an eviction letter or turn off your meal card. So it's hard. I know students get a lot of emails, a lot of Canvas notifications, but we don't email you unless it's important. So check your email. So that's really all I had for housing, just real short and sweet. So Jessica, I send it back to you.
Great, thank you, Anya. I also completely agree with checking your student email. That is incredibly important. So yeah, always make sure you're staying on top of that. All right, so now we're going to move on to the Q&A portion of the webinar. I just want to reiterate that if you have any questions, just make sure to throw them in that Q&A function. And then if you have, again, any specific questions about your circumstances or your account generally, just make sure to email the office that you have the questions for. And yeah, I'll have that information. I'll throw that up on the screen now. Dina, what's our first question?
Okay, let's get started. So the first question I think is a fantastic question. This was one of our very earliest questions that happened during the presentations, but this is for you, Zoe. What do you do if your expected family contribution isn't accurate and you're not getting any help from your family?
That is a good question. So we're going to ask you to contact the financial aid office. As you have probably figured out by now, the FAFSA uses prior year financial information. So a lot can happen in the 2 years between the tax year that we use for the FAFSA and when you actually arrive at school. So we do have ways to make adjustments to your FAFSA if it's appropriate. So definitely contact our office. For cases like this, it's always a good idea to go through the front desk first. There's also an option to schedule an appointment with a counselor yourself on the contact us page of the financial aid website. So that is actually what I'd recommend doing for a case like this. And you can talk everything out and see if maybe there's an adjustment that we can make.
Great, thank you. Important question to ask and get an answer to for a lot of people. So this question looks to be an SBO question, and it's about 529 plans. So, Karen or Rich or whoever from your area. For a 529 plan, how does the direct deposit work from the account to the online student account work?
Yeah, thanks. I'm going to actually have Rich, if he is available, address that.
Yeah, thanks, Karen. So I want to start off by saying that Western absolutely does not want anyone to get late fees or interest charges. So the best way to do the 529, and this question has the direct deposit. What you do is you go to your 529 provider's website. You're going to log into the account, and then you sign up for an electronic funds transfer, an EFT, to your personal checking or savings account. You'll request the transfer about a week or so before classes, and it usually takes your 529 provider 2 to 6 business days to get that money into your personal account. So they'll send it to your personal account. Then you can go to your Western account online and set up a e-check payment to Western, and that gets you paid. Now, it's the fastest, easiest, and the safest way to get the money from your 529 to Western, and that's why we promote it. It's free, like Karen said. There's e-check doesn't have any convenience fee, so this is should be a completely free transfer of money from your 529 to your Western account.
Great. Okay, next we have a housing question. Anya, I was on the housing wait list and was told that I could receive a spot in the dorms if there's space left, but I'm a freshman. Would that mean the dorm is not always guaranteed?
I should unmute myself. If you're a freshman, we guarantee the housing. Typically with freshmen, we try to get them in the dorms, and for returning students, they're in our Burnham Wood apartments. Sometimes though, freshmen do end up in our Burnham Wood apartments, which is still campus housing. But if you have an active application and you've paid your deposit, you're probably one of maybe the 65 that are still waiting for your room assignment. I would send a follow-up email to housing@ww.edu, and they can just confirm your application status. But yeah, if you're a freshman, we guarantee housing.
Great. I'm sure that's a little bit of a relief there. We have a question for financial aid. If a student registers or has a leave of absence for about a year, does the financial aid stop or does it continue to go when they come back?
Oh yeah, so when you come back to Western, which usually if you're gone for a year, you need to be readmitted, just make sure that you have a FAFSA for the correct academic year on file, and that you have entered Western as like one of the institutions or the institution that you want the FAFSA sent to. We'll pull in that information once you're readmitted, and we'll give you an offer. So that's how that works.
Thank you. There is another question about 529 plans. So, and I checking to make sure it has a question. There's some concerns. So this says, I do find it disappointing that Western does not have a way to submit funds electronically from a 529 plan as some other Washington universities do. Since preference would be to have funds sent directly, the 529 account, sent directly the 529 account. To do that, do we have a check sent to the main student business office mailing address?
Hey, Karen, I'll get this one too. Western doesn't have any control over what 529 plans partner with, I guess, direct transfers. We work with Transact, and they currently have the most 529 plans available for that direct transfer that you're referring to. However, it is plan dependent, and we are working to add more plans every day. So the way I explained it, to sign up for an electronic fund transfer to your personal account, and then you can pay out of your personal account to Western is I guess the best workaround right now to a direct payment from a 529. Keep in mind, most 529 plans with a direct payment do charge will charge you for it. The way I explained it, it's free across the whole way. So that is one benefit of it. But if you do send a check or must send a check, you can send it to the student business office. The mailing address is on our homepage, sbo.ww.edu.
Okay, and since we are on a 529 kick here, I'm going to add one more. This is actually related to sort of how things balances work, but to follow up on the answer to the 529 payments, we would not know the amount to be paid until the Friday prior to the quarter starting. Is that correct? After financial aid is applied. If I understand correctly, that would be the soonest we could ask for the EFT from a 529 to one's personal checking account. And there was another question, how do we know how much to request if the financial aid is not applied? So I think there's some concerns about the timing of that and how they know how much to request.
I'm going to defer this to Matt this time.
Yeah, sure, Rich. Yeah, that's a good question. So one thing you can do is look at your students' awards in their Web for You. They should have a financial aid tab, and it should list all the different awards and the payouts for each quarter. So you could kind of deduct those financial aid awards prior to the paying with 529. Or you can give our office a call, have the student give us a call. We can break it down for them as far as how much they can expect to have dispersed on the 16th, so that you can get the 529 check going as soon as possible. That would be my recommendation. Give us a call, or look at your financial aid tab and Web for You and make that deduction. Hopefully that answered it.
Yeah.
One
Again,
tiny thing to add is that loans do have a small loan fee. There's just a bit over 1%. So if you're offered, so for 5,500, I remember, say you're offered like $1,800 of loan for fall, like not quite $1,800 will actually disperse into your account. So just maybe underestimate the loans a little bit.
Thank you, Zoe. This question is, Anya, it's sort of dining related, and that's sort of in close to where you work. What's the difference between dining dollars and Viking dollars?
Sure, good question. Dining dollars are a component of your meal plan. So when you sign up for a meal plan, if you live in our dorms, in our residence halls, you're required to have an on-campus meal plan. And most meal plans come with about 220 dining dollars, if memory serves me. If you live off campus meal plans come with like 300 dining dollar. So I saw another question in the Q&A, so I'm going to try to answer both. So how we price on-campus meal plans and off-campus meal plans is because on-campus meal plans are mandatory, they are slightly less than off-campus meal plans. And the plans are pretty different. You know, the off-campus meal plans, you can get as low as a 33 meal plan to an unlimited, where an on-campus meal plan is an 80 to an unlimited. So the per meal cost is slightly less for an on-campus meal plan. Viking dollars are kind of like sort of a declining balance. They are not part of the meal plan. So if you can, I use Viking dollars on campus all the time. So if you run out of dining dollars or you're not on a meal plan, you can load Viking dollars onto your Western ID card and you can access it through your app or your ID card. And that is just like using like a Starbucks gift card, you know, when you have the app and you're paying for stuff. When you use Viking dollars, you get a 10% discount and it's not taxable. So by using Viking dollars, you'll save, you know, 17, 18% in the retail locations. You can use it at all of our markets, on campus, Starbucks, Panda, Subway, any dining or retail location, not the bookstore on campus. You can use your Viking dollars.
I'm just going to hit you up real quick. Where do you see what meal plan you are signed up for?
When you go into your housing portal, you should see what meal plan you're on. Most folks are on, if you didn't choose a plan, then you're most likely on the 125. And if you don't want to be on the 125 through the housing portal, you can go into Meal Manager and you can either increase or decrease your plan.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, Zoe, there's some scholarship questions that I'm gonna either sling to you or answer. So one of them is, my daughter was granted a private scholarship. How can I confirm that the scholarship is in her account?
Congratulations to her. So she can confirm if it's been added to her account in Web for You, or she can contact our office. Something that I did not mention is, like the Student Business Office, financial aid also has an information release form that students can fill out to give parents or whomever else they would like permission to talk to us about their awards. So that information release form is under forms on the financial aid website. But yes, so those are where she can find out if it's been added. We are still adding a lot of scholarships, so they're not all in yet. We are working as fast as we can, though.
Right, and
They should all be in by October 15th.
That's another question, and I thought we could clarify a little bit, but I also want to clarify that your role is, in addition to working in the financial aid sort of umbrella, but that specifically we have a scholarship center that can provide answers to those sort of scholarship questions about whether it's been received. So when contacting our office, probably if it's a scholarship related question, we would encourage students to actually reach out to the specific scholarship center. And so, yeah, one of those questions or a couple is sort of, when will all the scholarships be listed? So, you know, you could sort of, I think you did a little bit that, you know, we're working on them and continuing to process them as they come in. And we expect that the majority or all scholarships that we're sort of aware of or have been awarded would be by the October 15th late fee deadline.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you. And then there was a couple questions. Let's see. There's one that somebody asked if they could pay for their tuition, housing, and fees in person. So business office, do you have an answer to that?
Yes, I do. You absolutely can. Rich is probably cringing right now. You can come in and visit us and make your payment in person. We are open from 9 to 4. We're in Old Main 110. And while you can do that, we still encourage people to try and make their payments online just to avoid waiting in lines. The online portal is available 24 hours a day. And you do have the option to make a e-check payment free of charge through the portal. We don't accept card payments at the counter. So just keep that in mind. I think that answers it.
Thank you. This question is, where can I get my Western ID? Is it mailed or do I pick it up? Do you have the answer?
Yeah, I can do that. So they have been frantically mailing Western IDs to addresses. There is a deadline that they're going to stop that. And they, I'm not sure if Matt or Rich, if you remember that. I feel like it was the beginning of September. If you had requested it by then, they're going to mail it
Yeah.
out. Okay.
They
thank you,
stopped it on the
Jessica.
2nd. The 2nd, if you
Okay.
submitted before the 2nd, they mailed it to you.
Okay, so they're working on mailing it, and then if you haven't gotten it, I know that the card office will be available during move-in. You can come in and pick up your card in person.
Thanks. Anya, do we need, and some of these might have been addressed, some of these earlier ones, but do we need a sign up for a time to move in? So maybe clarifying that a little bit.
Yeah, so you should have received an email to let you know to go to the to your housing portal and sign up for a move-in slot. I'm just actually looking in the portal right now if I can see. It's not my area, but you should have an email that gives you instructions on how to sign up for a time slot. If you did not receive that email, then I would encourage you to send an email to housing@ww.edu. If you show up between, Thursday and Sunday when we're open for move-in between 9 a.m. and 4 p.m., we're not going to turn you away if you didn't have a slot. So if you do come at a time where you don't have a move-in slide, it's busy. Move-in is crazy and hectic. I would recommend maybe coming a little bit later in the afternoon, around 2-3 o'clock. It tends to slow down, but we're absolutely not going to turn you away if you don't have a move-in time. The slots just kind of give us a gauge of how many people to expect each day, so it's helpful to have. But yeah, check your email. There should be something in there about the move-in time slot.
Can I add something really quick? This is Jillian from Transportation Services. I just wanted to let everyone know that we've mentioned that you should receive an email and your Western email and whatnot. And we have found that sometimes the emails that we send out will end up in people's clutter folders or spam folders. So if you feel like you haven't received an email, please check in those places because it might be there waiting for you.
Great, thank you. Along the lines of sort of move-in, Anya, and I don't know if you just addressed this, I've been trying to monitor the Q&A, but is it problematic if you show up early to move in?
Well, if you show up before 9 a.m., you're just going to end up waiting for us to check you in and get the keys. So if you show, move-in starts officially on Thursday. It's problematic if you show up on Wednesday and we're not expecting you, because we don't have the halls staffed and we might not have someone there to give you keys. If there's a need, if you need to come early, you email our housing website. We do have students coming in early, but we just have to know that you're coming, and we have to get your keys ready and your packets ready and make sure that there's someone there to check your key out too. So if you need to come before Thursday, please email the housing office. And coming before Thursday, there is a nightly charge. So if you came on Tuesday, you would be billed for Tuesday night and Wednesday night.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, Zoe, here is a scholarship question. Does it matter whether you wait until the 16th when scholarships are applied to pay for tuition, et cetera, or does the same process occur regardless? Additionally, how are scholarships applied if you're already paid your expenses?
Okay, so scholarships and financial aid will disperse on the 16th, assuming you've completed any outstanding requirements, regardless of whether you've paid your expenses already or not. If you prepay your expenses, you will receive a refund. So if you have the option of waiting, especially since there's like several weeks between the first day of classes and October 15th, you definitely have the option of waiting until scholarships are applied on the 16th and then going in and paying the remainder of your account balance. So it doesn't really matter. Technically, everything should be paid the first day of classes, but you do have that like 3-week grace period. So yeah, so if your account balance is already paid when your scholarship disperses or your aid disperses, you'll just get a refund.
Okay, thank
Make
you.
sure to set up that refund preference.
And that has been a common question on, I think, all of our webinars, is sort of just understanding the payments and how financial aid affects that refunding, or if you owe, kind of that. So definitely encourage people to reach out if they still have questions about that. This question, Anya, it might have been relevant at the time it was posted, but it's like, why is Burnham Wood meal plan separated with others?
So if you live in Burnham Wood, because Burnham Wood apartments have kitchens, it's considered off campus and meal plans are not required. So if you live in Burnham Wood and you would like a meal plan, then there's optional meal plans, off-campus meal plans that you can sign up for, which are different than the on-campus residential meal plans. If you had, when you applied and, you know, at some point you may have seen that we had given you the 125 meal plan, and then we placed you in Burnham Wood, we would have canceled that meal plan. So you would then, if you want to meal plan, you can go and sign up for an optional one, but they're not required for Burnham Wood. They have kitchens, and most students in Burnham Wood ought not to have one.
Okay. And then actually it looks like we have a lot of housing questions here at the end. The website shows the off-campus meal plan as less than the on-campus plan. I think maybe that was already sort of discussed. Do you think kind of the logistics of that?
It is, they're different plans, right? So on the off-campus meal plan, you could have the 33 off-campus meal plan, which is the smallest off-campus meal plan, but the smallest on-campus meal plan is the 80. So they have different number of meals that come with the plans. And by meals, I mean entries into the dining hall, and it's all you can eat type. So if you're on the 33 off-campus meal plan, you can go into the dining hall 33 times and eat as much as you want. If you have the 80 meal plan, you can go in 80 times. Off-campus meal plans come with more dining dollars than on-campus meal plans. But if you average out like the per meal costs, they're pretty close to the same, maybe off-campus meal plans being slightly higher. And then I did see a question in the chat regarding dining dollars and Viking dollars. They're the same value as $1. So one Viking dollar is kind of the same as one dining dollar, which is the same as one like US dollar. So they're all the same value. There's no, you know, one dining dollar does not equal 3 Viking dollars. It's all the same. It's the same type of currency, if that makes sense.
Okay, great.
Yep.
Let's see. This question looks to be a parking question. Do you need a permit to park after hours on campus?
I can take that. So it depends on where you're proposing to park. So if you're an on-campus student, if you're living in the residence halls and you're thinking that you want to park in one of the resident parking lots, you must have a permit 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to park in those lots. If you want to park after hours, and after hours on campus is after 4:30 until 7 in the morning the next day, although we don't have overnight parking, but you can park into the evening in what's called the C lot, and C just stands for commuter, and it's a very large parking lot on the south side of campus by the Student Recreation Center. And students can park there without a charge after hours, so after 4:30. 7 days a week. And on the weekends, you can also park there all day without a parking permit or without a charge.
Good information.
Hey, real quick, Dina, real quick. Sorry, Jillian, I wanted to verify. That C parking, are they required to get an after hours permit? The free
Oh,
one.
yeah, good point. Yes, I guess you always need to have a permit to park on campus. So there's a free after hours parking permit that would allow you to then park in the C lot without a charge after hours. Thanks for clarifying that, Rich.
Good information. And I actually want to sort of throw it back to Jessica, I think, for a little bit of clarification regarding sort of dates and how late fees sort of work. So I wanted to give Jessica an opportunity to shed some light on that.
Yeah, thanks, Dina. I was just thinking when Zoe was talking earlier about how we have the little bit of grace period between the first day of the quarter and the late fee day. I just want everyone to remember that that period of time is different per quarter. So I went and grabbed my calendar. But for example, winter quarter, it's always a lot shorter. So it's nice fall quarter. It's going to be your first time doing it. You're going to have a little bit more time because classes start on September 21st. And then we won't assess late fees until October 15th. But for winter quarter, the first day of classes is January 3rd, and we'll assess late fees for the first time on January 15th. So, only a week and a half between those 2 dates for winter quarter. So it changes every quarter. So just kind of be aware that that grace period changes a little bit.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that. And this, again, Anya, sort of dining related questions, but you're as good as a representative of dining as anybody. How do we discuss special diet restrictions or allergies with someone in food service?
Nope, that is a great question. So when you arrive on campus, I encourage you to reach out to, you can send an email to me and I can get the process started, but we do have a dietitian on staff and we do have an executive chef. We work with a lot of students with a lot of different allergy needs. This year, we're going to have in our dining halls, it's brand new. I forget what it's called, but we're going to have kind of allergy food stations where there's going to be sections in our dining halls where all the food is, gluten-free and like all the major allergy components. We're going to have like special areas for those. So yeah, I encourage you to reach out to me. I'll put you in touch with our dietitian and executive chef. We work with a lot of students with different allergies and generally we're able to accommodate everyone's needs. But yeah, send me an email. We'll get the process started.
And by sending you an email, would that be to the housing email address that's on the screen or a different one?
Send it to me directly. So I'll put it in the chat, but it's just my first name dot last name at ww.edu, but I will throw it in the chat.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
This question would be for the business office related to payers. So for the payer invitation, inviting a third party, would that include private loans?
Well, I think this could be maybe a combination answer.
Yes.
So I'll start with the first part. So the payer invitation is really for like a parent or a grandparent, potentially somebody who would be paying on your account, making a direct payment to your Western account online. And then Zoe, I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about how private loans work at Western, or Dina.
I don't work a lot with private loans. For private loans, you would apply for the loan. You'd be awarded the loan through the bank or other institution. They usually take a little bit of time to get processed through our office. So like if you're just getting started now, I'm not even sure if it would be done by, probably wouldn't be done by next Friday. But when those are done, they will be dispersed. Same way that your other aid is.
Yeah,
So,
so I'll add a little bit because I used to handle the private loans and
yeah,
financial
I
aid.
don't.
When you do apply for that for a private loan, that information is sent directly over to Western. And so they certify what your costs are as a student. And so that information really does need to come through Western because it does work together with like a financial aid offer, or if you're not using financial aid, they still track that information. And then the payments are released directly to your Western account to pay for your tuition and housing.
Great. Zoe, this question is for you. So I'm actually not reading a specific question, but we definitely hear this bit. What happens if a student has a rough quarter? You know,
Yeah.
classes don't go the way maybe they thought. There's, not the grades that they were hoping for. So could you sort of describe what might happen financial aid wise?
Yeah, definitely. We do have standards called satisfactory academic progress, which is a few different tools that we use to measure a student's progress. If you are thinking that you may not pass a class or you're wanting to withdraw from a class, we definitely recommend you chat with someone in our office, and we can give you a better idea of for your specific case how that might affect your aid. Generally, you'll either be put on warning status, where, like, say you get an F in one class, but you're taking 3 classes. Generally, that would result in a warning for the next quarter. And then for the next quarter, if you did not complete all of your courses successfully, you would be suspended. Your aid would be suspended. And if you are suspended from aid, you would need to appeal to have your aid reinstated. Sometimes you can reinstate yourself by completing all of your courses. That could take more than 1 quarter though, so we definitely recommend appealing. Basically, at the first instance where you think that you're not going to pass the class, or where you need to maybe withdraw from all your classes because there's a health concern or anything like that, it happens to a lot of people, definitely just talk to our office and we can give you really specific guidance for exactly what you will need to do to have your aid reinstated if it's going to be suspended for a future quarter.
Good. I think that's an important thing is really to talk to somebody if things don't go according to plan, because financial aid has rules and regulations to follow, but also sort of options when
we have options.
Go the way you expect to do it. So
yeah.
Well, I am looking at the Q&A and there's actually no longer any questions listed. So we probably might have to have a last call here. We've got just a couple minutes before we're about to end, but not really seeing anything pop up. And Jessica, I think you can kind of end us for the evening.
Yeah. So thank you everybody for attending today. It was great to get all your questions answered, or as much as possible. Like I mentioned earlier, if you have any questions for us that you didn't think of right now, or you end up seeing something on your account you're confused by, just make sure to send us an email. We would always love to hear from you. Like we kind of mentioned earlier, the recording from today will be made available in the next couple of days. It will for sure be on the Student Business Office homepage. We also have, there were other questions that people answered during other webinar sessions. So if you want to check those out, we have our last recordings as well. Yeah, finally, I'd just like to say welcome to Western. Looking forward to see everybody this fall.
Thanks, everyone.